Well, look who's rocking the t-shirt today.
Ooh. I got my new Fisherman's Cove on.
You have indeed, and it suits you. I like that colour on you.
Thanks, Norm. I like it too.
So what are we talking about today, Teen?
Passport to retirement.
Well, that's an all-encompassing one. But before we get into that, we are Tina and Norm, and we talk all things retirement, finance, lifestyle, and whatever you ask us to talk about. And we're having a blast doing it.
Yes. And if you are new to our channel, we would love you to press that button and subscribe to us. And if you would like to give us the thumbs up, we would really appreciate it because it helps our channel grow.
And talking about growing, Teen, how many videos is this one?
This is our 200th video, Norm. That's hard to say that.
It is. Who would have thought that our very first video went up on Valentine's Day 2019, and here we are 200 videos later.
Absolutely amazing, isn't it?
So we would just like to send a thank you.
We would, to everybody who has subscribed to our channel, and we just really appreciate all of you.
We couldn't do it without you.
No.
So, passport to retirement. That sounds tempting.
Interesting, eh, Norm?
It is. So what we're suggesting on this video is having one passport to travel on a wise idea in these challenging times that we find ourselves in? Or should we be looking towards having multiple passports?
And we kind of are thinking that it's important that it might be an idea to actually have a second passport, don't we?
Yes, we do. So we've gone ahead and applied for a UK passport.
Yes.
We already had one, but it had expired.
Yeah.
So we are renewing our UK passport. So that'll give us two passports to travel on, the Canadian and the British. So why would you want to have two passports, Teen?
Ooh, I think one thing, Norm, would be we could pick which is the shorter lineup in the airport.
Oh, definitely.
Depending on which country we were going in. I see that as a big advantage.
If you get off one of those transatlantic flights from Canada to Manchester or London or even Edinburgh, the vast majority of people are going to be Canadians on there. Yeah. Well, that's a big lineup.
Yeah. So we could jump to the UK lineup.
We could just whip out the UK passport and be in the short lineup.
Yeah, so that's one advantage, isn't it?
Another advantage is, and it's quite a serious one, and it's come out of the pandemic. A lot of people did get trapped overseas when the pandemic hit a couple of years back. And the Canadian government were doing repatriation flights for people who had got stuck when the airlines stopped flying.
Yeah.
So depending on your country, we were lucky that Canada was offering that, but they might not have offered it.
No.
And it puts us in mind of civil wars. You could be somewhere nice and sunny in the wintertime, and all of a sudden there's a civil war. Well, what happens if your country of residence is not doing repatriation, evacuation flights, but your second passport is?
So that could
be a thought.
Yeah, could be really useful, couldn't it, Norm?
It could. Another advantage, Tina, of having a second passport, what do you think?
Absolutely. It's another way of renewing your citizenship and actually proving that you actually have citizenship of another country. So in our case, we would have dual citizenship because we don't have to give up one for the other.
No.
Which is a big advantage, isn't it?
And as Tina said, holding that passport reaffirms your right as citizenship in that country.
Yeah. So, Norm, how can anybody get a second passport?
Well, that's fascinating, especially living in a country like Canada where so many people have emigrated from another country like we have.
Yeah.
So you have your country of birth that you might have left when you were a small child. You might have been born and bred in the country where you live, but your parents weren't, or your grandparents were. So there is a lot of this citizenship by descendancy, and there are countries such as Britain, Ireland, Portugal, um, Italy, where you can prove your heritage from your grandparents and parents and qualify for citizenship and a passport.
Yeah, that's a great idea, isn't it?
And obviously, having a passport of one of the Schengen countries would be an advantage because
Yeah.
you get the right of residency there without filling out for visas or anything. So perhaps your grandparents or parents were Italian, Portuguese, British, Irish, where you can get those passports through proving your descendancy. Another great advantage, especially for those who aren't retired, would be
Well, Norm, you might want to go and work or just live in another country. And if you had that second passport, there's a good chance that you would then qualify for free healthcare. And that's really important if you were going for a couple of years or something like that to be able to get free healthcare. That would be a great plus too,
especially
wouldn't
for
it?
our American
Yeah.
friends where the cost of healthcare is quite expensive. If you had Irish descendancy, you
Yeah.
could go and live in Ireland for a couple of years, qualify to get free healthcare
Yeah.
under their system, which would save you a lot of money and give you a fantastic experience of living overseas.
And I think another thing too, Norm, is that particularly that's shone up through the pandemic is the fact that so many people are now doing remote working that you can work from completely a totally different place to where you normally live and still do the job.
Very much
It's
so.
a great idea, isn't it? Hey?
It really
Yeah.
is. So applying for a British passport from Canada, it has changed somewhat because
Yes.
once upon a time we could go to the consulate in Ottawa and just apply in person. That's all gone now. So they've just come up with this new online application. The only problem for us is our passports were issued prior to 1993, and so we don't qualify for doing that. Having said that, they didn't
They,
say that on the
they,
website
no,
either,
they
did
didn't,
they?
did they? So we went ahead and applied for it all, didn't we?
So we're having to prove our citizenship and our rights to have a passport. So what have we been doing for that?
Oh, we've been really busy, haven't we, Norm? We've actually both had to get a copy of our original birth certificates and a copy of our marriage certificate, just to actually prove who we are, where we were born, and the fact that we are legally married. So we've had to get quite a few documents. And we've also had to show another piece of identification, for example, a lease or a driver's license that proves we actually live and reside at our address here in Canada too. So we've been very busy getting organizing and sending all this information to them, haven't
We have.
Yeah.
They do seem overwhelmed, just
Yes.
like a lot of countries are
Yeah.
overwhelmed with their passport procedures at the moment, Canada included.
Yeah.
So another really useful thing, just tacking it on to
Yeah.
the passport, is being a Canadian citizen and traveling to the US. We have a reciprocal agreement where we can go across the border without being checked. It's called the Nexus.
The Nexus, and we think it's great, don't we?
We do, because it gives us that ability to skip big long lineups
We
at
like-
immigration when we're coming back from the US.
Yeah.
On a plane or even Europe, it's worked. We can
Yeah.
go up to the automated kiosk,
Yeah.
separate from everybody else, and it's like breezing through as if you're part of the airline crew.
Yeah. And another thing too, Norm, is if we're actually driving over to the US, is for example, near Niagara, they have a complete Nexus only bridge. So
Yep.
we can go there and back on our own Nexus bridge, which is great.
And
Yeah,
we've never experienced a lineup. All that we
no,
have to do is to take the card out
yeah,
and hold it so the camera scans it,
yeah.
and then off we go.
So that's another thing that we are in the process of renewing too, isn't it?
It
Yeah,
is because
yeah,
they only last so long.
yeah,
So if you're an American citizen and you travel to Canada
yeah.
often, or you're Canadian traveling to
Traveling.
the US, it's well worth
Yeah.
the application. It's $50 to have one of these
It's not a
cards.
lot of money, is it really? Not for the advantages that you get. Hey, we think it's money well worth spent, don't
It's
we?
huge
Yeah.
advantage at the airport, and we did notice our ex-prime minister. He was on the same flight as us, coming
Oh,
back from
yeah.
Portugal, and surprise, surprise, he had a Nexus card as well. He was in the next cubicle
Yes.
to us.
So we kind of felt really important,
Oh
didn't
yeah,
we?
we're important in our own minds,
Yeah, in
anyway.
our own mind.
So, team, that's our take. Passport to retirement,
Yeah, absolutely great. We hope everybody has enjoyed it
and we hope that everybody is keeping well.
and staying safe.
And until the next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.